Okay, today in part 5, I'm going to be working on the fins some more, be add some more detail in them. I've got the dorsal fin here pretty much complete, and there still may be a little bit of touch-up I do on it. So I've got the anal fin and the pelvic fins, and of course the pectoral fins to go yet. And I may be working on, I am going to be working on some of the tail today. It's started off early this morning and it's cold. It's like 31 degrees out here. Got a little heater here at my feet. But yesterday we had 3 inches of snow on the ground, and today there is barely any left. It's maybe in the shadows a little bit here and there. No, in the woods, I can see some in the woods over there. But here in Arkansas we have a saying, if you don't like the weather, stick around, it'll change in 10 minutes. But anyway, I'm going to get started on this, and let me get, I got it out here. But so I'm going to start on, probably going to start on shaping this tail down a little bit. I've got it drawn out on there. Does that show? Yeah, it shows up a little bit. So I'm going to shape it down just a tad bit and start thinning it down to the actual shape and flow, and then I'm going to get heavy on these fins. So I'm going to reset the camera and get started on that and see how long I can tolerate this cold. It's supposed to be almost 55 today, so hopefully here in the next hour or two it'll warm up a little bit. So I do have a little space heater down here. It's not doing much, but it's doing a little bit. Alright, so let me get started on this. I'm going to move the camera around where we see. And then I'm going to draw in the tail shape here. I need to put this round one on so I can start concaving the inside and outside, where it's going to kind of flip out this way a little bit. Actually, just in the middle, the edges of the tail will stay straighter, but it's going to kind of flip in a little bit. So put this other ball on. Tupelo for breakfast. I really should have a mask on, and I don't have one. other than the old COVID mask. Kind of feeling with my fingers here the thickness so that it's, make sure it's kind of even all the way across, all over the tail, and it's pretty even. That's looking pretty good. As you can see, I've got the I need to bring down the thickness, blend that into the tail where it's going to, I still may need to bring down, maybe it did a little too thick here, so I still may need to bring this down a little bit thinner on both sides here before I start bringing the body into the tail. It still feels just a little thick there. I think I'm going to use the drum sander on it some before I get too far down with the rough, coarse bits. Maybe on this side. Alright, I've got that down probably as thin as I'm going to take it, because once I start carving the detail in it, the fin rays, it'll actually make that edge a little thinner even, and plus when I burn it, and I still got to do some sanding on it, so that's as far down as I'm going to take it right now with the sander. And these will, if you stay in one spot hard long enough, they will start cutting down into the wood. So you need to be careful with that if you make one of these. I'm happy with that. So what I'll do, I'm going to go ahead and work on some of the other ones, but I'll draw in the rays and start carving those in also. So let me get started on these other ones here. Move this so I don't drop it off and break it. This one's looking good, but I think I want to make the spines, I want to try to make the spines a little thinner up here. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to do that with a diamond bit. I've got this little set of diamond bits. I think I bought them on Amazon. They weren't very expensive. They're probably not high quality, but they work pretty good. I think I only paid like 10 or 12 bucks for it. Not that much. Well, I just spotted another mistake. Alright, here's another screw up. Where this fin placement will be like from the middle of the back down. And if you notice, there's just a slight curve in the body there. And what I failed to do, dadgummit, was to put that same curve in the fin. When I drew that straight line, the center line, I drew it straight, and that's what I carved to. So it's not going to match up with the slot that's cut in here for the fins. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm not going to cut another one. I think I could probably steam this, put it over a pot of boiling water and steam it, and then put some bend in it, and just hold it till it cools off, and then it should hold that shape. And that probably saved my neck, because if you remember in the last video I talked about I cut the grain wrong, or I cut the fin out with the wrong grain direction. The grain direction is running on this fin is running this way, it's running horizontal, and it should have been running vertical, or at least a little bit with the shape of the rays. And if I'd have done that the right way and then tried to bend that, it would probably snap. I don't know if steaming it would help it out or not, but since the grain is running this way, I can steam it and bend it slightly and hold it in that position, and when it cools off it'll hold that position, and then I can insert it into the body and it should hold, and I'll make my tab will be deep enough that it'll get a good bite and hold it in there without splitting the piece. So that was probably a godsend that I cut the wrong grain structure on there, because I would have cut it straight, and with the grain going this way and I try to bend it, it would probably just snap in half. As it is, I can bend it slightly. If you can see that, I can bend it slightly, and that's all it's going to need right there. So, oh, and I've done it on both of them. I've done it on the anal and the dorsal, but it's done now, so there's not really much I can do about it other than cut a new one, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to start on the anal fin here, and I'll get a little bit into it, and then I'll do most of it off camera so that you're not sitting here bored silly on these videos. So I'm just going to use one of these little metal cutting burrs, a little round one. I have one that's a small one, and then one just a little bit bigger. I'm going to start off with the bigger one. Okay, there is the anal fin. Alright, so now that I've got the rays and the spines roughed in, I'm going to take and carve in the splits in the soft rays here, and then later I'll go back and burn them in. But what I'm going to do is, let's see if this shows up here. I'll start up here kind of high, and then I'll carve a little slight line into that. Then I'll come about halfway up from where I started that line and do another one. So I'll do that on all the soft rays. And I'm going to do it with this little diamond bit, little cylinder shaped diamond bit, and I'll just use the edge of it. Let's see if I can get in here and do this now, or you can see it. So just start up high here. And just go down like that, then I come right beside it. Same on this side. And then you have, so let me do all those because it's kind of awkward here under the camera. I'll do all those off camera and then come back and show you. Alright, you can see that I've got the little soft ray detail in now. And again, I'll go in with a burner and deepen those and really make them stand out more. So there's the anal and the dorsal fin. So the pectoral fins are going to be harder because there's more rays packed in there in a smaller fin. So these, I'm going to save that one for last and work on the pelvic fins now. Okay, I've got I went ahead and did the pectoral fins off camera, and they were a pain because the rays are so fine on there and they're packed together closer. And the pelvic fins I'm getting ready to clean them up and put the ray splits in them, and then I'll start on the tail. But I thought I would show you again some of these, how I put the splits in these. So here, let me get the camera here a little closer, and I'll just do a few of these off camera. Again, I'll start up high on the ray here. You can kind of see that. So I'm going to go through and do that on this side, and I'm going to do a little bit on the ends of this one, the pectoral fins, and then I'm going to I'll come back and start on the tail. So I'll be back with you in just a minute. I've got all the fins done. All that's left now is the tail, which I'm about to work on, and then cutting the pelvic and pectoral fins apart and creating the tabs that'll go into the body. I may save that and do that on part 6, just to keep these videos down a little bit. Well, I'll start that on part 6, but I'm going to start the tail now. And what I need to do is draw out the pattern on it, and then start carving the ray detail in that. So I'm going to get that drawn out, and then I'll be back in just a second. So I've got them drawn on both sides, and I will use the little ball to start out with, the little steel cutting ball, and just start cutting out the relief in between the fins here. I'm just going to do real light, shallow little cuts, and then I'm going to creep up on it. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting out the spaces between the actual fin ray. So I just did shallow cuts there. I'm going to put a smaller diamond bit on, and I'll take them all the way out to the end. So I'm going to do this side here too. Yeah, I planned on after this contest in May, I had planned on start maybe putting some of these pieces up for sale, and boy, it's just a bad time. It's just a bad time to be doing that. It really sucks because with gas prices shooting up, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but with gas prices shooting up and the uncertainty of the market, you know, inflation, people dropping money on these is going to be way down the line list of priorities. So it sucks all the way around for us guys out here trying to make a living doing this. And you know, I'm not trying to make a living doing this yet, because I have a full-time job, but I'm looking down the line for retirement, which is not too far away. Just extra income for retirement. But with the way things are right now, I'm not holding my breath on if these will sell or not. And there's guys selling them, I'm sure. Alright, I'm going to put the diamond bit on now and start extending these rays to the end of the fins here. So give me a second. I'll switch out. So I'm just putting this little diamond barrel shape, and I'll just use the edge of it. If you look close at the fins on the structure and the tail of the fish, or on any of them for that matter, they kind of remind me of a little broom. but each ray starts splitting about halfway up, and then each one of those splits off, and then each one of those splits off, and it goes down fairly tiny, but there's no way I can get it down to how many times it actually does split off. And I'm just kind of simulating those splits. So you can kind of see from the diagram that I just put up what I'm talking about. And I'm not taking the time to split every one. I'm just giving the illusion of it being split. Okay, I've got the fins done. I think I'm at a stopping point today. I don't want this video to run long like the other ones have been. So the detail is done on all the fins. I'm particularly happy with the tail. I think it's turning out pretty good. I think I like leaving the tail attached to the main structure and then carving it versus cutting it separate and trying to do a fit and finish on it. That was always the toughest spot for me on the ones that I've done so far. So initially today I was going to cut the slots for the fins to be put in, but since I screwed up and these are straight, and then but I have a curve here, I'm going to have to steam these like I was talking about earlier to get them to bend. It's just the dorsal and the anal fin are going to have to be curved just a little bit to match that. So, but anyway, I'm going to stop there and pick up in part 6 on attaching the fins. But if you have any comments, please leave them for me in the comment section below. Suggestions, I'm open to any suggestions you may have. And subscribe if you haven't. Hit that thumbs up button. And I appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you on part 6.